Kirk Frost, the subject of years of controversy, just won a case in court, but at what price? Kirk may be having a good time, but Jasmine's entire world has fallen apart. Secrets have come to light in the courtroom, and the public have been rocked by unexpected turns. This court battle completely upended everything, and you won't believe it. I wonder why Jasmine's life is in tatters and why fallout is something no one anticipated coming, given that Kirk Frost has been linked to controversy, scandal, and judicial drama for years, from his well-publicized marriage to Rasheeda to the startling result of this verdict. The public has been watching his relationship with Jasmine Washington unfold like a soap opera in real life. But this latest court ruling has shocked everyone just when we thought it was done. Many people were unaware of Kirk Frost's victory, but he has now formally won in court. Approaching, but Jasmine is experiencing one of the worst periods in her life. She is in complete upheaval as a result of the emotional toll, the financial setback, and the deeper secrets that came to light throughout this judicial battle. What exactly was the goal of this legal dispute? How did Kirk prevail? And most significantly, we need to go back to the start of the affair that stunned reality TV viewers and nearly ended Jasmine's relationship with the child at the heart of this whole controversy to understand the significance of this court struggle. I promise you that this narrative is far from over, so you don't want to miss a single detail. For years, Kirk Frost and his wife Rasheeda were considered one of the most successful couples on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, despite the usual highs and lows that accompany being in the spotlight. They seemed to be inseparable, but that all changed in 2017 when Jasmine Washington made an astonishing revelation. Marriage to the core. Jasmine, a young model, said she had been dating Kirk in secret for almost a year. Her allegation that she gave birth to Kirk's child, a boy called Cannon, was even more shocking. When the rumors began to circulate, Kirk initially denied everything and refused to acknowledge Jasmine or the child. When Jasmine brought Kirk to court to demand child support and legal recognition for their kid, the situation escalated as the fans demanded answers. The drama was becoming increasingly heated on and off-screen at this point, and Kirk was in a tight spot. The time for the truth eventually came. Kirk, as a paternity test, verified what many had assumed. The matter changed course when it was discovered that Frost was the father. It was no longer merely a scandal, but a full-fledged legal dispute that would drag on for years, including Kirk and Jasmine in court. But here's where it gets interesting. What started out as a child support disagreement quickly spiraled out of control, and the case wasn't just. It had developed into something far more important and had serious legal repercussions for both sides. It was no longer just about money. Everyone was shocked by a final choice made years later. How did Kirk alter the judicial proceedings, and why does result most adversely affect Jasmine? Now let's discuss the shocking specifics when Jasmine Washington. She believed she had the upper hand when she originally filed her lawsuit against Kirk Frost because she had proof of their relationship, a kid, which Kirk had first denied, and the support of people who were incensed at Kirk's behavior. But what started out as a simple case quickly turned into a drawn-out court battle that left both sides. Jasmine's fight for justice was exhausting. Jasmine was adamant that Kirk be held responsible for their baby from the moment she came out. She sought formal confirmation that Kirk was Cannon's father in addition to financial support. Many initially believed she had a solid case because she had witnesses, photos, and text messages that may prove their bond, but Kirk wasn't about to give up lightly. To disprove Jasmine's allegations, his legal team employed every tool available. At first, Kirk's denial and strategic defense did not recognize everything, and Jasmine denied her accusations as false, even suggesting that she was. They tried to extort him for money for months, but he refused to undergo a DNA test. But Jasmine wasn't giving up. Kirk was eventually forced to do so due to public pressure and legal action, and many people thought that he was actually the father of Cannon when the findings showed that would put a stop to it, wouldn't it? Now, Kirk would surely step up, take responsibility, and give Jasmine the money she requested. But instead of surrendering, Kirk took a bold and surprising legal action. Kirk retaliates after the DNA test confirms his paternity, which is an unexpected turn of events. Subsequently, he filed a lawsuit of his own to refute Jasmine's accusations, alleging that she had deliberately misled him about their connection and raising questions about the validity of her child support demands. His legal team argued that Jasmine's claims were exaggerated and that she was asking for too much money. They also questioned if Kirk was Jasmine's sole source of income, pointing out that she had supposedly dated other men during that period. Personal assaults were made as the case developed, and Jasmine accused Kirk of trying to ruin her life and avoid his paternal responsibilities. Jasmine was presented negatively by Kirk's crew as a con artist who had treated him like a mere cash target, but Jasmine was about to suffer the biggest blow of all. After years of back-and-forth legal proceedings, the court finally issued a ruling that devastated her. Jasmine would have to deal with the horrible consequences of Kirk Frost's major success. What precisely was the court's ruling? And when the judge finally renders the decision, the story takes an extraordinary turn that shakes the courtroom. After putting in endless hours to fight for justice, Jasmine Washington ended up losing a war she never thought she would be in. How did Kirk end up leaving this situation with more strength than before? In a calculated move that eventually benefited Kirk Frost, his legal team developed a case that questioned Jasmine's financial claims, claiming that she had overstated the amount of assistance she required. Even if his paternity was established by the DNA test, how did they win? Lifestyle, social media presence, and past relationships, asserting that she didn't require a lot of Kirk's financial assistance to sustain herself and her baby. But this is where things took a shocking turn. The court concluded that the judge had sided with Kirk on a major technicality rather than just reducing the child support payments. The judge's ruling alone was devastating since it concluded that Jasmine's first claims were based on estimates rather than actual expenses, and that she had not provided adequate, reliable proof of her financial need. The judge's final decision, nevertheless, was to not only provide Jasmine far less support than she had requested, but she would also have to pay some of Kirk's legal fees. This is a giant setback because Jasmine had spent years striving for financial justice and now found herself feverishly repaying bills rather than having security. She had a public meltdown because she couldn't believe what she was witnessing. Her life was collapsing before her eyes. Had taken place, she had gone into the courtroom expecting to leave with a big victory, a money ruling in her favor, complete custody rights, and Kirk's public acknowledgement that he had hurt her. Her displeasure quickly turned into public outrage, which she shared on social media after leaving with nothing but hardtack and court bills. Her supporters and admirers rushed to her defense when she wrote, "I fought for my son. I fought for what was right, and in the end, money and power won. They always do." In one of her most emotional posts, she vented to the media about how the legal system had tricked her into thinking that justice was on her side. Many people sent encouraging comments in her post, blaming the court system for giving preference to affluent males and depriving single mothers of the justice they are due. Others, however, questioned if Jasmine had handled the matter improperly, pointing out that she might have been harmed by her previous decisions and social media presence. Credibility in court, the stress of the litigation had worn her down, and there were allegations that Jasmine was struggling financially and was unable to pay the costs of keeping her child alone, as well as the legal expenditures. If Jasmine believed that things couldn't get much worse, she was mistaken. According to some sources, she was even at risk of losing her home. What Kirk will do next? Instead of working out a deal with Jasmine in secret, Kirk filed for legal restrictions that would prevent her from talking about him and their legal dispute in public. Was a last betrayal at a time when everyone had assumed Kirk would quietly put the case behind him. Jasmine had damaged Kirk's reputation, defamed him, and continued to cause unnecessary drama despite the court's ruling, according to Kirk's team, who wanted her quiet. Jasmine would be legally barred from ever talking about their past relationship, their son, or the court case again if the judge approved his motion. This was the last straw. Betrayal Jasmine was in danger of being entirely silenced after losing the case and experiencing financial difficulties. Kirk appeared to want to cut her out of his life entirely, but Jasmine wasn't going down easily. Would she defy the court and face further legal problems? Would she divulge any more details? Not one to back down lightly, Jasmine wasn't going to keep quiet despite the terrible court decision, the escalating legal fees, and the possibility of losing her platform. She used social media to get revenge on Kirk since she had fought too hard and gone through too much to just walk away. But would she eventually give up and disappear from the public view? With no other legal options, Jasmine turned to social media, the court of public opinion, to fight her struggle. The public might listen if the courts didn't. They urged me to remain silent after she began posting cryptic words that alluded to unspoken secrets about Kirk. One post in particular went viral online. Her remarks sparked a flurry of conjecture on the internet about what else she would disclose. What did she mean when she predicted that the truth would eventually surface? Her posts soon attracted the attention of bloggers, influencers, and internet critics who started analyzing every word. They don't know me, but they wanted me to go. I haven't finished yet. Jasmine had planned a secret interview titled Jasmine's Truth Unfiltered for a few weeks following the judgment. After losing in court, some believed she was merely attempting to maintain her relevance, while others believed she had more explosive material about Kirk that might permanently damage his reputation. Jasmine sat down for an unexpected interview with a well-known blogger who was known for exposing celebrities, and it wasn't just your old social media diatribe. It was a deliberate attempt to control her story. She didn't hold back and talked candidly about how Kirk's legal defense had failed her as a mother. Her latest charge that Kirk had been secretly engaging in dishonest business practices throughout the legal struggle, paying off others to undermine her and guarantee his victory, was the true shock. The group had manipulated the outcome and prevented her from sharing her experience by using money and contacts. Names she listed, but Kirk made sure he had the appropriate individuals in his pocket, and I know that money talks. Because it reignited interest in the case and presented Jasmine as a victim of a dishonest system. The interview changed the course of events. People who had earlier questioned her began to come over to her side and insist that Kirk answer her accusations. Jasmine had him cornered this time. His public relations staff hurried to stop the rumors by releasing a well-crafted statement because the charges were too serious to ignore. Kirk Frost had been carefully controlling his public image for years. He was accustomed to controversy, but always kept the narrative under control. The statement refuted Jasmine's assertions, calling them desperate lies and accusing her of spreading falsehoods to get sympathy. Among the numerous concerns it highlighted was, if Jasmine was lying, why wouldn't Kirk address it directly? Why wasn't he taking legal action against her for it? Kirk, however, said nothing. Slander. The internet never forgot that more people thought Jasmine's claims had some truth to them the longer Kirk stayed silent. Then, just when it appeared that things couldn't get any dirtier, the most unexpected thing happened. A new woman stepped forward and revealed yet another betrayal. This woman, who had never spoken about Kirk publicly before, made a shocking disclosure about him and posted an enigmatic statement online that turned social media into a frenzy. Those who knew only the part of it began to worry who this woman was, what she was recommending, and if Kirk had. Within a few hours, there were speculations that this woman had a previous relationship with Kirk, which could have revealed further details about his background. Kirk Frost was dealing with a full-blown scandal at this point, and the outcome of the final meeting will determine if his reputation survives. Disclosed him in a high-profile interview, the internet pressed for clarification, and a new, enigmatic woman suggested that there was more to the story. Would the incident permanently harm Kirk's long-cultivated public image, or would he finally come forward and defend himself? Picture of achievement, authority, and dominance. He had always recovered and preserved his reputation in the entertainment and business worlds in spite of prior scandals. But because of the emotional resonance of Jasmine's interview, things were different this time. People expected answers to the court's accusations rather than just conjecturing about Kirk. The deceptive manipulation and silencing methods caused social media to explode with debates, and big gossip blogs picked up the subject, each adding their twist. Fans who had previously backed Kirk were suddenly opposing Kirk as hashtags like #Justice for Jasmine and #Kirk Frost Exposed started to gain popularity. As the pressure rose against him, Kirk realized he couldn't keep quiet forever, but before he could even think of a rebuttal, another bombshell appeared online, exposing more charges and a pattern of deception. Eventually, the woman who had hinted at other secrets stepped forward and was revealed to be Tanya Mitchell. It felt like deja vu when I saw Jasmine's interview. Tanya discussed the manipulation, the legal threats, and how he makes you feel in an emotional Instagram post. Tanya presented receipts to back up her claim that she and Kirk had a past connection years prior to Jasmine's involvement. It's the same tactic he used on me, so you're crazy. She didn't stop there, though. Old emails and texts that allegedly showed Kirk using his riches and power to silence her about their past relationship were made public by Tanya. While some of the emails suggested Kirk had threatened to pay her hush money, others appeared to show him really providing it. Legal measures, should she ever try to reveal him, no longer represented the perspective of a single lady opposing Kirk, but rather an inevitable trend. As Tanya's admissions fuel the flames and almost ruin Kirk's image, the PR team swings into overdrive. In order to prevent the damage from becoming out of control, his public relations staff immediately moved in. A spokeswoman called Tanya's claims baseless and an effort to leverage an old relationship for political advantage after they initially denied everything. They then went on the offensive, and rumors were propagated by unidentified sources who leaked information. The general populace didn't believe it. Why didn't Kirk make straightforward denials if he wasn't guilty? Why did he rely on vague public relations statements? Websites that sought to discredit Tanya and Jasmine asserted that they had planned the entire affair for exposure and that both ladies were trying to extort money from Kirk. Kirk's silence further heightened suspicions, according to anonymous sources, until Jasmine's final move, the tell-all, shocked everyone. If Kirk's team intended to paint her as dishonest, Jasmine wasn't going to let them make up a tale to back him up. Instead, she was willing to risk everything when she announced, as she was going mainstream with this in-depth, candid interview, this time with a much bigger media outlet, rather than merely sitting down with a blogger. Was it going to be another tirade on social media? It was her chance to expose Kirk in front of millions of people on a large platform, and the interview was explosive when it came out. Revealed documents that hinted at their turbulent legal struggle and audio recordings of furious arguments showed how Kirk allegedly coerced her behind the scenes. She described every aspect of her relationship with Kirk, from their early courtship to the acrimonious legal dispute. Proof from covert money transactions that she claimed Kirk had lied to win the case. Even people who had previously backed Kirk started to question what Jasmine said because the public was immediately stunned. The people turned against Kirk, and his reputation was ruined. It was a swift and brutal revelation from Jasmine. Once considered an untouchable businessman and reality TV star, Kirk was now the focus of unheard-of public indignation. His social media accounts were inundated with comments from fans urging him to address the accusations, and sponsors withdrew companies that had secretly worked with him, separated from him so they wouldn't be associated with his growing controversy. Kirk refused to give a statement when reporters tried to reach him. His marriage to Rasheeda was also being scrutinized. They had built a reputation for their connection over the years, but now people wanted to know how much she knew. Kirk was slammed with a lawsuit that could terminate his career just when it looked like things couldn't get much worse. Jasmine took a risk in the face of the public criticism. Had she assisted Kirk in hiding his supposed transgressions? Would Rasheeda support Kirk through everything, or was she now prepared to leave him? She filed a second lawsuit against Kirk, alleging financial damages, emotional suffering, and slander. Instead of custody, the emphasis this time was on making Kirk accountable for what she had endured. According to a statement released by her legal team, Jasmine has been silent for too long and has been threatened and intimidated. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the industry, and if Jasmine won, it could mean serious financial and reputational damage for Kirk. And with public sentiment already turning against him, he was in a vulnerable position. And manipulation, but now she is ready to fight back with the full force of the law. For the first time in his career, Kirk was truly in a tough place while the entire world watched. One concern was whether he would settle to terminate the matter or fight the lawsuit in court. It seems clear that this was the beginning of Kirk Frost's most important battle.